Hey, folks, welcome to Lead Like You Mean It, people. We've got a wonderful guest today, and I'm going to introduce her. But before I do that, I want to say that our guest, I met our guest about, I would say, 6 or 7 months ago. We were in a group training together, and I thought, oh, she would be a wonderful guest because, I'm picky about who shows up. So let me introduce her. Shasta. Now, here's the thing. You always mess up on names. So I'm going to mess up, but she's free to correct me. Shasta Martin is the founder and principal executive coach of Mardot Strategic Advisors, LLC, a former Fortune 500 executive with more than 27 years of leadership experience. She helps leaders navigate growth, complexity, and transition through greater clarity, alignment, and executive insight. Throughout her career, Shasta has led large organizations, developed emerging leaders, managed multi-million-dollar budgets, and served as a trusted advisor to executives and leadership teams. Shasta, welcome to Lead Like You Mean It, people.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hey, can you show the viewers your picture in the background? Because that's so pretty.
Okay, let me see what I can do. Give me a sec.
Yeah. Did someone paint that or?
It looks like a painting, but I was actually able to purchase it from a place called High Fashion Furniture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you for
It's
sharing.
lovely. Thank you, thank you. Yes.
All right, before we get into our wonderful questions from Miss Connie, I will say I'll open it up to you, Shasta, before we start.
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me here. And I really look forward to talking about development of leaders because in this time, leadership is changing with the impact of AI, with the impact of higher, faster response times that customers are looking for. So the way we led in the past may not be as effective in leadership today. But the main thing that I want leaders to take away from is that intentional development of your people is what will be able to make your businesses grow and thrive as we, move through the next stages of expectations of our businesses.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, so we're going to head up our first question.
Okay.
No guarantee we're going to get through them all.
All right. Let's go.
All right. So you've led large organizations and now coach executive. What changes when a leader moves from managing people to leading at a larger scale?
Well, the key word there that you talked about is scale. So when you're managing people, you're more tactical about making sure that things are executed. But as you begin to lead larger organizations, then you have to be able to lead at a strategic level. You have to be able to bring people along with the vision, but you also have to recognize that you're no longer the doer. So you have to be able to bring out the best in your team and then understand how to have those teams be able to collaborate across the organization in order to execute the strategy rather than focusing on your own specific little niche of the company or the strategy.
Okay. If you could share with us a story that you actually, a situation where you actually went through that you could see it and implement this as well.
Well, I'll start off with being in the introductory roles of leadership. So I moved into a role because I was doing really well at the job at hand, right? I was an individual contributor. I moved into a role and now I'm leading people. And I'm thinking those same things that I did as a great individual contributor were going to work well for me as a leader. And I realized that my team members hadn't really connected with me and they did a 360 on me. That's when everybody tells you how they think about you. You got to have a lot of thick skin when you do that. So, I came in really confident that I know what I'm going to do well in is going to be leading people. Well, that was the aspect that I received some feedback that just floored me. And the feedback said that she does not involve us in decisions that impact us. And I was in a time where we were getting a lot of decisions that were passed down to us as leaders. And so I was just passing the information down to my team. And I realized that I had to find ways to involve them outside of those decisions that were just being passed down, because otherwise we're not really thinking. So while I identified some areas that they had wanted to change, and I said, okay, you want to change it? Let's get a team together. Let's work on what that looks like, and then bring it to me and we'll see what we can do. And so we were able to make some changes about the systems that we utilize in our direct department. But then after we were able to pilot it, we were actually able to move that along into the entire department that we worked for. So other people were able to gain those efficiencies. But I learned that I can't, as a leader, just pass instruction. I also have to be able to involve the team in things that impact them so that they have buy-in, and then you can continue to develop and grow, and they feel like they're a part of the solution and not just being told what to do every day.
Instead of you just delegating. It sounds like you built trust with the team.
Yeah. But you don't expect that, because when you move into a role, you think, oh, what got me here is just following the instruction.
Right.
But as a leader, you have to be able to grow and develop your team and understand that they're the people that are actually doing the work. So yeah, people are sitting here and doing all of these strategic thoughts, but the plan on paper does not necessarily match the implementation of how people have to utilize that work. So being able to bring all of that together makes a really big difference on being able to move the needle in how an organization progresses, while having a committed team that wants to support that progression.
How did it make you feel when they said that you don't bring them in with the decision-making process?
Well, first I was in denial, because, I'm thinking I'm just this great people person. But when I sat down and really thought about it, and I actually had a coach that helped me. That helped me to understand that the feedback was not necessarily a negative attack on me. It was really saying, this is what your team needs in order to be successful. And if you want to be successful and to help them to grow, then you will listen to that feedback and adapt it. And once I looked at it from a different lens, I was really excited about, well, what are the things that I can involve them in that they can really change? And then it made me think about, well, how do I help them understand these are the things that we actually can change? And these are the marching orders that are already put in place, right? Because if teams can't distinguish from a clear perspective of what can I really change, then you start spinning your wheels and getting frustrated on things that are not going to change. So how do we figure out how to focus on what we can actually control and move the needle on? So once I changed my perspective, I felt really excited, and I looked for many things that the team could do, and I opened my mind to be able to have them come to me with ideas so that we could work together to improve the processes.
How did that help you as you continue to grow in your career or be promoted in your career?
Well, I think it began to help me look at things from an organizational perspective and not just a tactical execution, because companies and organizations are really good about putting goals. You have to have this many widgets completed by this amount of time. And so when you get so focused on production, sometimes you forget about collaboration. You forget about reprioritization. You forget about how your decisions impact others. And we also sometimes don't really understand what are the impacts down the line. I'm in the middle of this process, so I'm going to do what's best for me. But is that really best for the overall outcome? So you have to be able to look at things from the entire span of that process. And so it just helped me to be more organizational minded versus more tactically minded, which I think helped me to be able to grow into some other roles that I moved into in the future.
Yeah. I actually had one person say to me when we won this huge project Carla, you need to make friends with, I can't remember the gentleman's name. I'll just say Bill. You need to make friends with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I never thought, well, wait a minute. Bill is at a higher level at an organization that we considered in the military. You say, echelon 1.
Right.
And I thought, why in the world would I talk to Bill? But I needed to, we call it make friends, but really it was the collaboration.
Right.
I needed to collaborate with him, and I needed to understand his responsibility because it will support our organization and my responsibility. But it took me a while because I actually thought, this is so strange. Reach out to Bill. I don't have time for Bill.
Yeah, well, it's because I think as we're intentional about developing people, we forget that people are a part of that equation.
Yes.
So we get really stuck on results, productivity, but we forget in order to get that, you have to have people who want to do the work, who understand how to do the work, and can deliver on that. And the way you get through that is really being able to connect with your team, connect with other teams, have a general understanding of how you impact others, and then and want to do what's best, because sometimes it may be more work for me to make the process easier downstream, and I have to be willing to make that sacrifice. But not only do I have to be willing to make that sacrifice, everybody within the chain has to be willing to make that sacrifice. And, we talked about it earlier. You have to build that through trust. And like you talked about your relationship with Bill, you have to be able to build relationships with people in order to get through those types of situations as well.
Yeah, I had an executive approach me, and one of the things she said, I mean, it was not positive. She said, you're not taking care of, in so many words, you're not taking care of your colleagues. Once again, I was just narrow-minded because that's how I was raised in the leadership world. And I thought, okay, now here's a situation. Both of us work for the same executive. I now need to reach across the aisle and work with my peer. That's so strange. And that was another thing. But what I found with working with several peers is that we built a unit, we built a team, and our teams worked better because we started to collaborate. We started to say, hey, this is coming down the pike. Just giving you a heads up. I know it doesn't actually, it's not your responsibility. It's not something that's going to help you, but I'm just making you aware this is what's happening. And we built such a unit, such a great core that even when our teams at times didn't work together, we said, hey, we need to work this out because it just does not impact the people at a lower level, but it impacts the organization as a whole. So it is very beneficial. I experienced to collaborate well with your peers. What can you share about that?
Collaboration is important, but in addition to collaboration, there are a couple of factors that you have to be able to understand from your leadership capability. And one of them is your influence.
Yes.
Right. And the culture of the organization, because we all come from different backgrounds. We all think differently. And so when I'm collaborating with my peers, I have to understand what's important to them. How do they communicate? What is going to make this impactful for them and their teams? But then you also have to be able to build your relationships to be able to have influence in the organization, because you can have all the ideas and they can be great ideas, but if nobody wants to listen to your ideas, then those ideas aren't going to go anywhere. And I had to learn that the hard way. That when your influence goes down, then you kind of get stuck, and you have to be able to get out of that. So influence is really important, and understanding the politics of the organization that you're in, and being able to remain true to yourself while you navigate those politics.
My gosh. Okay, let me see if I say it right. Shasta. Did I say it
Shock,
right?
shock,
Shot.
shock. Yes.
Shot.
Yes.
Let me get it right.
You got it. You got it.
Oh, I get it right. So when you mention politics, as you continue to grow in your career, that's one of the things that you're going to have to deal with. And it doesn't matter really at any level, but as you continue to grow, you see it even more so. And I thought, again, narrow-minded, because I simply didn't know.
Right.
Oh, I'm not a political type of person. I'm not going to get involved in it. But it hit me like a brick. Oh, you know what? It is something that happens in every organization. And I thought I needed to really change my personality to fit in. And it took me about a year or so to realize, Carla, you're not being yourself. You're just conforming to the ways of the organization and the political climate. And I had to pull back and say, you know what? Like I said at the beginning, I'm a silly person. I had to be free to be silly.
Yes, yes, yes. You have to be free to be yourself. And so when I started in corporate, right, I have 27 years in corporate, 20 years in leadership. So think about 27 years ago. I'm young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a woman. I'm African American.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting in these meetings, and I'm hearing conversations about things that I wasn't doing. But I grew up in a household that just said be yourself. So people talking about how they were overseas or doing these things, and I had just gone to the Nicki Minaj concert. And so as people were talking, I would see other people that looked like me. They would be quiet because they weren't having those same experiences, right? But I'd say, now I might not suggest you don't listen to where I say I went, especially on work. I was like, but I was at the Nicki Minaj concert, and then it would start conversation. I would just be able to be myself. And then I started wearing my hair natural in the workplace, and people started gravitating to that. Like, how did you do that? And I was like, I didn't know any other way to be, but to be myself. And when you lose being yourself, it's hard to be a really good leader.
Yes.
Because then you're trying to shape and form. I might be dating myself, but the Wonder Twins, when they would put that ring together and one would form in something and one would form in something else.
Yep.
When you try to shape and form into other things, then you lose your genuine self, and then you lose your genuine voice, and then you don't know how to be bold in the workplace when it's time to stand up and make the statement or say that what you're recommending, I understand what you're doing, but in order to get there, we can do this better. You just begin to shut down. So you have to be able to understand how to be your authentic self in the workplace, but also understanding that your authentic self comes in different forms, right? So if I'm not a sellout, if I'm not speaking slang all day long, right? Because I'm dressed like this today because I'm in this setting. But on the weekend, I might have on a sundress. I'm not going to wear a sundress to work, right? It doesn't mean that I'm a sellout. So you have to be able to orient yourself to understand what is it? How am I true to myself in the setting that I'm in without losing myself to try to be what others think I should be? Because the value is me. That's why they put me in this role. The value is me.
Absolutely. So I went through something similar. I believe it was 2019, 2020, maybe the beginning of COVID. I decided I wanted to cut off all my hair. And I went natural, and it was extremely short. It's actually the picture for LinkedIn and some of my other social media. Yes. And when I returned to the office, let me take my glasses off. Oh, Carla, oh, your hair, it looks nice. I said, thank you. Then someone else, oh, girl, your hair looks good. Then another person, you can tell they're trying to figure out what to say, but it empowered me.
Yes.
Just to be, this is who I am. I made a decision to cut my hair because I'm not the type of woman who likes to go up there and mess with it and do something different every day. Cut it off. I don't have to deal with it, but it did empower me to be me.
Yes.
So Connie has this one thing. Let me, wanted to read this.
Yeah.
You want leadership insights delivered straight to your inbox? Join the Coach Consulting Group Leadership Newsletter. Visit our website and click contact us to get started. The link will be in the comments. Thank you, Connie. But I wanted you to talk a little bit about, someone has a comment here. Shasta is a great leader, and I was honored to have her as both a direct and an indirect mentor. Hey, that's from James Briscoe. Thank you, James, for that.
Thank you.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Very.
All right, you got some kudos there, Shasta.
Very kind, very kind.
Very kind. Okay, tell me, what is the difference, just to shift it a little bit, what is the difference from, let's just say, a corporate leader to an executive leader? What's the difference?
So a corporate leader, I would think about more along the lines of your director level leadership, where you have responsibility for probably a particular department. And then as you move into executive leadership roles, then your responsibilities span across multiple departments. You have more responsibility for larger budgets. You have more influence across the organization, because now people are seeing you in manners that are more enterprise, right? So you're doing town hall meetings where people are seeing you and they're hearing you. You're setting down strategy that's impacting their departments or their roles. And now people that you don't even think are looking to you for answers are coming to you, asking you questions. So it's a more broad leadership and influence across the organization, and even more so with external stakeholders as well.
So what would you recommend an organization to in their support of the new executive? For instance, you mentioned town halls. And I say that because I was told you need to do a town hall. And I'm like, what in the world is that? Because I didn't get any support. What would you recommend an organization share with an up and coming executive?
Well, that really piques my interest when you say that, because I do think that executive development is a gap. Because based on my experiences and talking to other people and hearing other people move into these roles, it is sometimes assumed that because you are an executive, then you have all the skills necessary in order to succeed at that role. But now, as an executive, you really are removed from the work. So you're not doing hands-on leadership. You're really removing obstacles, setting strategy, providing clear direction and guidelines for your teams to be able to operate. And so there's this framework that I think about that would help people move naturally. I think about clarity, right? So it's clarity of message, clarity of goals, and then alignment. How are we aligned across organizations? How are we aligned within the organization? And how are we structurally aligned to be able to meet the needs of the organization? And I'm talking about structure from hierarchy, from roles, and then the pace. What pace are we moving in order to support the teams and support the organizations? Because you cannot have teams running at non-sustainable paces and say that that's the normal, right? But those three things are all working together. all at the same time, all the time. And leaders have to be able to flex in between that to understand, a red flag is raised. We've had a crisis come up.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have all of this work that we were doing. We have to reprioritize. Who's going to focus on the crisis? Who's going to focus on the regular work, right? We have shifted into this whole AI. Right now, AI is important for us. But we had all of these roles that were supporting these really automated positions. So now what do I do? So now I have to recalibrate along the alignment there. So I think executives have to be able to teach the new executives, how do I navigate across all of my departments? How do I connect with the enterprise? And then how do I still invest in myself as a leader to continue to develop those around me? And one of the biggest things is that leaders have to be able to flex and see the situations in front of them and address them accordingly, because what got you here may not keep you here.
Absolutely.
And then you have to be able to also listen to what your teams are telling you and stop, reflect, and then determine if it's something that you need to address, because you can't just let stuff be just water cooler talk and then you don't address it. Then it becomes a really big issue. So I would say being able to be clear, being able to be aligned, being able to address the pace at which things are changing, but also being able to pour into yourself to remain aware of what's going on and what you need to do to develop your teams, as well as being aware of the market pressures that are there, and really, 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 really seriously pouring into yourself. Because once you stop pouring into yourself as a leader, you can't develop other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You reach that ceiling.
Yeah.
So share with us a leadership lesson that you've learned from your dad.
To always be myself, to be confident. Now, my dad uses expletives, so I can't say.
Okay. Understood.
I can't say that, but I say this in a frame that you have to care, but you also have to know when to have those hard conversations, right? So you want to be able to remain confident, connect with people, but be willing to have the hard conversation, because that's what drives growth sometimes. And I won't use any expletives like my dad. And then remember that you're not better than anybody, which really goes to relatability.
Yeah.
How can I relate to everybody? And one of the things that I take from my dad that always makes me smile when I think about being in leadership, he says, one of the things that I'm most proud of you about is that you can relate to everybody. You can relate to someone that's an entry-level employee. You can relate to someone that may be maintaining the building, as well as being able to talk to an executive or a CEO, because you realize that everybody in the organization is important.
Bravo. That's wonderful. So share with us, we talked about our voices just having to get, they'll go dry in a second. So that's where I am right now.
Yes.
Share with us a leadership lesson that you've learned from your friends.
I would say perseverance and tenacity, because I've had a few friends that have gone through layoffs, and when they went through them, they talked about just understanding what the next moment is, but they didn't give up. They didn't give up. They didn't give up on themselves. They went into these new roles in new places, bolder than where they were before, and were able to make significant impact in those organizations, growing in responsibility and, growing in promotions. And so when a similar thing hit me, you know, I had to learn that I can be resilient and to rely on the skills that I know that I have in order to push forward in that new environment.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And sometimes it's easier to be able to relate to your friends than it is a family member on certain occasions.
It
So
is.
to learn that from a friend is powerful.
It is.
Can you share with us a book that you enjoy about leadership?
Oh, see, that's the problem, Carla. I am too busy trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Relax. So I've been in full on Netflix mode
Hey,
lately.
no problems here. No problems here.
I have been in full on Netflix mode, but what I have been focusing on is coaching, like coaching books. And one of my favorite coaching books is Laser Focused Coaching. And I believe that it is something that would be beneficial for leaders in organizations because it teaches you about how to coach your team members in a way that is inquisitive.
Yeah.
Right. It's inquisitive and it's focusing on their needs and not just bombarding them and telling them what to do so that you can really get down to what the gist of the issue is and then help them be instrumental in creating a solution for that. And I think all leaders would benefit from understanding how to coach employees versus performance manage them.
I have to say, when I started, when I went through training to become a certified coach, it changed my level of leadership tremendously. I went from that's part of your job description, do what I say.
Yes.
And if they would come with problems, I was eager to move them along and, you take care of this. But I had to stop and listen. That was the biggest thing. I had to stop and listen. And then I would ask them questions and I could see the look on their faces like, oh, wait a minute. Now this is turned around. Instead of you fix my problem, I'm being asked questions for me to fix my problem. And it just changed everything. And it made me, this is a crazy thing, it made me more relaxed. I didn't have to figure out the problem. Let them, they're intelligent. I hired them. They're intelligent people, highly intelligent people. Let them figure it out. And it changed so much.
When you create your solution, you're more bought into actually seeing it through.
Yes.
And you're more bought into it actually being a solution that works. So then you begin to bring in other people. And, the saying is, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. But you teach a man a fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. I think about that with leadership, right? We can tell people what to do all day, but then you're going to be a frustrated leader because you're going to say, I don't ever have any time. People are always coming. They're always asking me questions. Well, because you're not empowering them.
Right.
You're not empowering them. You're not helping them to be able to think. Our goal as leaders should be to remove obstacles, to create safe psychological spaces for people to be able to challenge decisions and to be able to create cultures of innovation where people want to work. And you can only do that through empowerment and can't do that through micromanagement. And we could have a whole nother segment on micromanagement because there's a difference in leading people, because I have a job, so I do have to lead and give directions. That's not micromanagement. But me questioning you to make you think so that you can be empowered, so that you know how to make these decisions on your own is what's really important, right? And that's how leaders build organizations because they build an empowered team of people that can make decisions at their level and know what the red flag is to elevate something where they need more support. And then when leaders can understand and see their teams and jump in when necessary, because sometimes they might not think they need help. And you can see that. That's what brings it all together. So we have to teach people to be able to be good decision makers, understand what to recognize. And that's where that whole clarity, alignment, and pace comes back. Mm-hmm. Because when any of those things are out of whack, it's what I call a red flag for you to slow down, think about it, and then determine what the next step is. It might be so insignificant that you could ignore it. Or it might be something that you need to build a team around. Or it might be something that's really significant and you need to elevate. But if you can work through those, then you're able to bring collaboration, to bring innovation, to bring peers along, and then to develop people. And I think that's what leadership is all about.
Yeah, that's wonderfully said. So Shasta, James has another comment. He said, it's the book she needs to write. Way to go, James. Way to go, James. Very, very timely, very appropriate.
Thank you.
Well, Shasta. Okay, did I say it correctly?
Shasta.
How come I can't get the C, replace the C with the S?
Yes.
I'm going to get it. In 5 years, I'll be able to see you at some event and say, Shasta. After 5 years, Carla, it took you that time. Okay. Shasta. See? Shasta. I'll get it right one day. So do you have any closing remarks to include how people can reach you?
Well, I want to just thank you for your time. I could talk about leadership for hours and hours on end. So just thank you. I appreciate you. And I can be reached at mardeaustrategicadvisors.com is my website. And that's Mardeau, MARDEAUX, strategicadvisors.com. Or they can reach me at info@mardeaustrategicadvisors.com. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Okay. And then we'll have your information in the comments as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I enjoyed it. I always enjoy talking about leadership just as much as you are. So thank you for participating. Thank you for your smile and showing that nice picture in the background. And I have to say, thank you for talking about natural hair.
Yes. Thank you for allowing me to do so and to be free.
Yes.
To feel the opportunity to give that information.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right, folks. That's the end of Lead Like You Mean It, people. We'll see you shortly in about 2 weeks. Remember, we are here the second and the fourth Wednesday of every month from 12 to around 12:35. We'll see you next time. You guys have a good day.